Mr. Fischer, you requested a report on the meeting of November 27, 2012 between the representatives of the town of Waukesha and Five Diamonds, Inc. Participants, purpose, items discussed / resolved, etc. as exactly as you requested. So, please proceed.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, I asked for this item to be put on the agenda as well. Just a little bit of a background to that. I mean, it's common knowledge that the Five Diamonds development has been front and center before this board and this community for over 2 years. The subject of great amount of discussion and deliberation. Hasn't always been a pretty scene, but through all of that, and with all of the differences of opinion and divisiveness that has been part of it, I think one good aspect of it is all of that has been carried on basically in the public arena, principally in this room. And the reason I put this on is because on Tuesday, November 27th at about 20 after 2 in the afternoon, Attorney De La Mora called me to inform me that he and Chairperson Van Sock and Supervisor Dansky and Planner Dupler were going to be having a meeting with people from Five Diamonds, and paraphrasing, and Nick, you correct me if it's wrong, but that basically Chairperson Van Sock suggested that you contact me so I was aware of the meeting, and I appreciated your doing that. My concern is we're sitting here at the 10th of January, and at least I, as one board member, have no feedback from the town of Waukesha on that agenda item at all. Even after I asked this to be put on the agenda and reviewing the bills, and we'll come to some of that a bit later, I see that Planner Dupler has 12 hours of time logged in November of last year for meetings with attorneys and for doing a lighting inspection and all kinds of things. It appears to me as though there's been a lot of busy bees working on this Five Diamonds matter, and I'm concerned that basically that, at least from my knowledge, has not been done in a public setting. So my, I guess, demand at this point in time, and that's a strong word, demand, but I choose it with some forethought of purpose, is to be provided if there are written reports that were issued either before or after that meeting. I guess I would demand that those be disseminated to members of the board. I guess I'd like to have somebody explain, at least verbally, what is going on, what the purpose of that meeting was, what was discussed, what was resolved, and what was going on before and after that meeting, because I'm in the dark.
Mr. Fischer, I hardly know where to start, but your claim of ignorance is, I'll use the word disingenuous again to be kind. You're certainly well aware of the meeting and the reasons for it. You have been a liaison with Five Diamonds, and it was explained to you the reason for the meeting, which was requested by the Kelnicks and the Kelnicks attorney. It was to be, as I understood, an exploratory meeting to see if there was any opportunity to even review where we go from here, which is kind of a normal process typically done between the planners and the constituents, or the developer in this case. In this case, of course, it's kind of a large issue, so it's gotten beyond that because so many people are involved, and that's created many, many issues related to trying to get this resolved. I explained to you, I gave you a courtesy call when the agenda came out and said why I had authorized the item to be not put on this agenda. I had explained to you that we have been waiting since December 21st for a reply from Attorney Tukalski, which is the Five Diamonds representative, that there were minutes of the meeting that he agreed to take, and that those minutes, in an approval basis between the people that were in attendance, were going back and forth, that he had not approved the final version of those, and that I was not comfortable releasing documentation that the Five Diamonds representatives had not approved. I indicated to you that I was intending to put it on the next agenda, that I thought that that was a much better agenda to put on, because the Plan Commission would be in attendance. And the Plan Commission is, of course, an important component. If they come back to us for a request and continuance of this, the Plan Commission would be the first to hear where we go from here. You had indicated that you demanded that it be put on the agenda, despite my explanation. So it is unfair to characterize it that you are unaware. It is unfair to say that we have withheld. We have been respectful of the other side, and they were obviously in no hurry to get the information back to us. And I had in fact engaged Mr. De La Mora to follow up with Attorney Tukalski. I had even placed a call on Monday, I believe it was, if not Friday, to the city of Waukesha to see if perhaps there was activity at the city of Waukesha for Five Diamonds, and if that's perhaps why they had not been responsive to us. So we were certainly wondering why nothing had been said or done. So I understand today Attorney Tukalski has responded to your email, Hector, and indicated that at least the draft of the minutes have now been approved by them. This would be back on the agenda then with the minutes in the packet for the next meeting. The next meeting is on the 24th, and the Plan Commission will be in attendance at that point in time. Your characterization of items discussed and resolved, of course, I'm not quite sure if that was meant to be inflammatory, but we, of course, cannot in any way, shape, or form resolve anything. And the minutes of the meeting will certainly indicate that. We don't do minutes of meetings in general discussions with developers when they're in preliminary stages. And in this case, I at least viewed this as somewhat of a preliminary discussion to see if there was any consensus that we could reach on even a discussion basis to move forward, given the differences on some of the issues related to the violations of Five Diamonds. I've read now a number of times that there couldn't have been a problem because we never fined them. And if there was really an issue, we would have certainly fined them. So that's certainly a lesson that I'm taking, that if we need to demonstrate that, we will. We were kind by allowing them the first year without fines to try to resolve their issues. Obviously, they thought that now is a weapon that they're going to use against us. But there will be a full report at the next meeting.
May I ask a follow-up question to then, and you may characterize me in any way, disingenuous or whatever, it matters not to me. I've got a couple of real direct questions. Looking at, and when we get to the accounts payable, and this comes into my hands on Wednesday, yesterday of this week, even after I asked this to be put on the agenda and you refused to do it. But I see an invoice from Yagi Colby, our planner, Roger Dupler, on November 20th. He logs 3.5 hours for meeting with the town attorney in coordination with the petitioner. On November 21st, logs 3.5 hours to research and document status of approvals and coordination with the town chair, who I presume is you. The 26th of November logs 1 hour for a conference call with chairman and attorney in preparation for the petitioner meeting. The 27th, which I believe is Tuesday of November, logs another 3 hours for status meeting with the attorneys, which I believe is the meeting that Attorney De La Mora informed me of 40 minutes before it commenced. And then the one that really has my curiosity, on November 30th, he logs an hour for a light inspection. So he's got, and this is a bill that only goes through November 30th, no idea what time he might have logged since then, or Attorney Dale Moore, anybody might have, but he's got 12 hours logged in November. That certainly raised my curiosity. I guess a direct question to you, Chairperson Van Sock, has Planner Dupler issued any reports or anything, written reports?
I'll be prepared to do a full report at the next meeting.
Will you answer my question, please?
I won't have a debate with you here, Mr. Fisher.
I'm not debating, I'm asking a question. Upon information and belief, Attorney Dupler has issued one or more reports. Assume for a minute that I'm accurate on that. On what basis can you deny the dissemination of those to the rest of the town board?
There is no denial of any dissemination of anything. Mr. Dupler has done his work as he does in other projects all the time. For whatever reason, you are positioning yourself as if someone has done something wrong here. The petitioners requested a meeting. We prepared for that meeting. Would you prefer that we don't prepare for that meeting? We prepared for that meeting as we would any other meeting with any other petitioner. That's what we do. At that point in time, they asked for a light inspection, which we provided. And I believe there was also an additional occupancy permit. I am not going to speak for the planner. It is his job to speak for himself. And that will be scheduled on the 24th, which is what I explained to you when you insisted that this be on here. So if you want to have this dialogue, I guess we'll have it again. But, Mr. Fisher, it's appropriate for the planner to speak for himself. It's appropriate for the Plan Commission to hear the entire report. It's appropriate that we move the requests of the petitioners forward, which we do every day. And there's other invoices here from Maggie Kobe. You don't seem to be asking about the work that was being done for them, strictly for 5 Diamonds. So I think that we need to move on. If Mr. De La Mora would like to characterize his discussion with Attorney Tucholsky at all, I welcome that. But as far as a full documentation, the planner needs to be able to speak for himself, and we're not going to, subrogate his ability to do his job.
My question to you is very, very simple, not looking to subrogate him doing his job. If, in fact, the town of Waukesha is in receipt of written reports from Planner Dupler, I'm demanding that those be released to the town board within the next 24 hours. It's just that simple.
Are there any other reports that you are demanding at this point in time? Because we have lots of them. Right, because there are reports done every day in process for meetings. And there's a process by which those are prepared and disseminated, and that's called the Plan Commission meeting. So please don't represent as though something is being hidden from you. We don't disseminate reports the moment they are done. They are put on our agenda, and they are properly noticed. And that is what we plan to do with the Plan Commission in 2 weeks.
To that point, Brian, I understand that Mr. Dupler has prepared a report for Fox River Church with regard to their parking lot. And as I hear Angie say, we don't get those reports until we're at a Plan Commission meeting and they come in our package. When a petitioner makes a request to do a project, just as standard operating procedure, planner does his job. We do not micromanage the planner and tell him when to hop and when to give us a report. He does his work, and then he provides us a report with regard to the packet, which is in conjunction with an application from a petitioner for a specific action, be that a building code, be that a site plan of operation. That has been the process since I have gotten on the board. We have never gotten individual reports when a planner meets with the Dunkin' Donuts or the St. Paul people. We didn't get a report about their sign. I mean,
allow me to translate, I guess, then. You're telling me Planner Dupler has not issued any written reports on 5 Diamonds. Is that the translation?
I personally don't know, because when I get a Plan Commission meeting packet, I take out that packet, Reports for petitions that are to be discussed that evening are in there. I've never gotten one that said, oh, hey, in 2 months or 3 months, these people might come back, or, oh, hey, they have a current conditional use permit, and part of that permit required a light inspection because they made adjustments on light, and he's cleaning up that detail potentially. We've never gotten that report. We didn't get a separate report when they went out to Rich Price's place because of his plumbing, and he put gravel in where he should have had grass, and he went out and did a report. Nobody on this board sat here and said, I demand to see the report prior to the meeting. I see that this is absolutely no different, other than we have continued to make this particular baseball complex a political football, and it has been childish and been a disservice to the petitioner, to the experts that work for us, and to the members of the public.
90% of that is bullshit, Joe, and I'm gonna say that.
We will not use that language here in the town board.
Something else. Joe sits up here and runs his mouth on this issue.
Joe is giving his opinion just like everyone is able to, as can you now, Mr.
Every
Chairman.
week, Roger Dupler would give us a report, a status as to who he had talked to, what he was doing. We have not received that fourth report in several months.
You get a meeting report that says that he has scheduled meetings with these people who have requested to meet with him. That's all we've gotten.
Okay, where is the report he met with 5 Diamonds?
Maybe it's not
It's slipped
part
out.
No.
What
it's
is
not
the
part
big
of
deal
it.
here, guys?
We could play this baloney game.
No, these are-
Gotcha.
these
We
are-
could play this baloney game of gotcha.
These are secret meetings you're having.
It's a secret meeting.
It is.
With the town plan.
There is no report. Brian was aware of the meeting. Hector called Brian. I was not even aware of this meeting.
We don't notice each and every meeting, and we don't notice
Doesn't
all
have to
of
be
you.
noticed. Why wasn't I notified of your meeting?
Were you aware that they were meeting?
No.
Oh, so Mr. Fisher never mentioned it. What a surprise. Okay, let's
So
just
Mr.
move.
Fisher
Let's
supposed
just
to tell me.
move on here.
Does the town, or does the town not have a report on Mr. Dupler's light inspection of November 30th, 2012? Yes or no?
I don't have it with me, and I'm not sure that there was one, and when he reports next week, you know, with this packet, we will know. I mean, what do you think, that he calls me every day with the work that he's done? Come on, Brian, let's be reasonable, okay?
You don't know whether he issued a report or not. Is that what you're saying? You don't know. Is that?
I
honest
believe
answer?
he prepared paperwork. I don't know if he called it a report. He prepared for the meeting. He put together his notes. He prepared some things that were given to the Kelnicks. So, should I characterize that as a report? You know, he prepared for the meeting to be sure that he was ready. He provided information to the Kelnicks, which I have a feeling you have, and that's probably why you're pushing this. If he would characterize that as his report, I am not sure, and I'm not going to make statements for him.
Angie, I'm not interested in playing the Bill Clinton game of what the definition of is, and whether it's a report or not. That's nonsense. I want to know whether you have a report from Roger Dupler based on his light inspection of November 30th, 2012. That's a real simple and real direct question.
Question?
Mr. Glasgow.
Yes. When I look at this work in progress, we're doing a lot of fencing over work in progress. That's something we have accepted in the past. When reports are issued, to me, it makes sense that there's somewhat of finalization in work in progress. Now, I got a question for the chair. I was not able to get the floor. May I back up on the agenda at the last item and make a comment?
Well, the item's really been closed at this point unless the board is willing to open it up for your comment. Does the board have any objection to Supervisor Laska making a comment on the previous item?
Yes, I do.
You have an objection?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry, Mike. Well, I guess we'll have to take a vote then if there is an objection. Do you have an objection, Mr. Fisher?
I don't
Okay, well, Mr.
Bring him on.
Dansky, do you have a comment?
Mr. Laska, can we please hear from you?
All right, perfect, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Laska.
Thank you, I'll make it short. In respect to the DPW meetings, I believe they are important. They are now short. I also believe that the citizens in our community have elected us to go to these meetings and make the decisions, and some of the decisions are necessary and immediate. The reason I bring that up, that all should be in attendance if we can make it, that's why they elect us. And what it does is minimizes postmortems. That has been an issue in the past with people digging up stuff and how come this happened and how come that happened. Well, when everybody's on the same page at the same exact time, that's a perfect opportunity to speak up. The middle any meeting, including the DPW meetings, is wrong. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. All right, where were we? So I don't have an answer for you, Mr. Fisher. I don't remember if he issued a report or not. I simply don't. I don't know. I mean, when he prepares his packet, that's when things come and I review them. He doesn't report to me on every item. I don't know what you think happened. That, you know, the planners do their work and interact with people, and you know, it's not a hey, may I do this type of scenario. He does his job as a professional. So although you may hold me responsible for interacting with him and directing his every move, that's simply not the case. And when it's on the agenda in 2 weeks, he will report what he has. Any and all things that he's prepared will be available to you for perusal, and we'll have a thorough discussion about the status of it at that point in time.
Are we going to have that information in our packets ahead of the meeting, as is customary and appropriate?
Of course.
And when might we expect to see that?
Well, we typically put out the packets on the Friday before, so that would be a week from tomorrow.
So to the extent that Planner Dupler has written reports that he has issued, those will be in the packet that we can anticipate getting a week from tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that issue?